Hello everyone, it's Alyssa, and today I have a very special guest with me, and some of you might have met him before, but this is my wonderful husband, Richard. Say hi, babe.
Hi, everybody.
And today, I've gotten a few requests lately, and so today we are going to tell you our love story, because that's what you guys want us to do. So we'll tell you how we met and everything, and how we started dating, and how we fell in love. So first of all, Richard and I met when we were in college. We both went to a Christian university in Costa Mesa, California, which is Orange County, and it's called Vanguard University. And so we went there, and I started in the fall of 2010. Would it be 2010? See, I always get mixed up here. I guess it would have been, yeah. And then he started in the spring of 2011, right? Or was it 2010 too?
I think so.
Actually, yeah, I think it was, because he started the spring, basically he started the spring after I started. So I started a semester sooner than he did. So anyway, I was a freshman, but he came in as a transfer. And how we met was I was sitting at the cafe, which is where we ate meals. And oftentimes I would sit alone in the beginning because, I was still new and making friends, and I was still trying to find my way, and I didn't have a lot of confidence, because if you don't know, I was born without sight, so I am blind totally. I've never seen in my life. And so going to college as a blind person is very difficult sometimes. And a lot of times I would sit by myself because I didn't really feel like I fit in a lot. So I was just sitting there one day at the table, just eating my lunch, talking to the Lord, having some Jesus time before class. And this young woman came up to me. And she was a senior, and I was a freshman, and she told me that, and her name was Rachel. And she introduced herself to me, and she's like, "Hey, I see you sitting alone. Do you want to come over and eat lunch with me and my friends?" And I was like, "Sure." So I went over and ate lunch with her. I didn't know her at all, hardly ever. I think she remembered meeting me at, the preview when I came to see the school, but that was it. And so I got to know her a little bit, and later that night, she actually invited me that night to hang out with some more of her friends, and that was when she introduced me to her little brother, which is Richard. Mm-hmm. Yep. And so she introduced me, and at that time, I'll be honest, I just thought, oh, cool, Rachel's little brother. To me, he had like a skateboard when I met him with him, and he loved to play video games, right, babe?
Yeah.
So I'm just being honest that my first impression was, wow, what a geek.
Okay with that.
Yeah, so that was just my first impression, that's Rachel's little brother Richard, and I just kind of knew that. And so anyway, that started our friendship. We did become friends, Richard and I, and we would hang out every week. We would have like a big hangout. We called it like
Thirsty Thursday.
Thirsty Thursday, and it's funny that we called it
We just went to a 7-Eleven and got Slurpees.
Yeah, we just got Slurpees because, in college, especially Christian college, we don't do the other kind of partying. So we got Slurpees every Thursday night. And so that's when I would see Richard, as at least once a week, if not more. And we would just hang out as a group. And so, of course, for a while, none of us were even looking for a dating relationship. Either of us, I should say. And so, I liked other guys. I was kind of boy crazy at that time. So I just had crushes, but I never, it was never out in the open. And, so anyway, we were friends for how long, babe? About 3 years before?
Yeah, it was about... Yeah, 3
This
years.
went on for about 2 or 3 years where we were just hanging out. Rachel's little brother, Richard. I'd see him. He'd see me around school. He'd say hi. And occasionally he would pick me up and take me to Rachel's house to hang out with her. And we'd hang out together. So anyway, and then one day, it was I was a junior. So I guess 2 years. I don't know, 2.5. Yeah. So one day, Richard comes up to me, and well, first of all, he'd been hanging out in my room a lot, my dorm room, with some of my friends, and he'd been wanting to do that, and I noticed that, and I was like, why is he always wanting to come to my room? And he'd do homework with me and my friends a lot, and he'd see me on campus, and he'd help me get places, and so I was like, he's being extra nice. And so one day, he stops me in my tracks somewhere. I was walking, and he goes, "Hey, do you want to go to coffee with me this week?" And I was like, huh? And I had never hung out with Richard before, ever, by myself, just him and I. And so I was like, sure, I guess. And so, but then I started to get suspicious. I'm like, why? First of all, why is he coming to my room to do homework all the time and asking me to do it? And then why is he asking me to coffee? So I don't know what you were thinking, babe, but I was just like, what? So I went, but I will say, when we went to Starbucks, he did not buy my drink because he didn't want me to think anything. So we bought our own drinks, so that was good. So I didn't think it was a date or anything like that. But we went to coffee, right?
Yeah.
And so we sit down at Starbucks and it's already super awkward because I'm like, why am I here? Like, and Richard's like, I haven't slept for like 2 days. I'm like, okay.
Stayed up all night for a paper.
Yeah, he pulled like 2 all-nighters in a row. And he's like, so yeah, we're just going to get coffee for school, you know? So we're sitting there and we're both drinking Java chip frappuccinos. I remember this. I think we were, huh? We were both drinking the same frappuccino, which was super weird. And we're sitting there and all of a sudden he goes, hey, I was wondering if you wanted to go to the school dance with me. Because at Vanguard we had this school banquet / dance that we'd have for the juniors and seniors.
Prom.
Yeah, it's like prom for college. It's great. And so he asked me to the dance, and my first impression was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. But I didn't say that. It was just my thought. But then I'm like, he goes, you know, because I'm a senior and I want to go, but I would like to go with someone, and you're just a great friend. And so I'm like, you know, okay. So I said, yeah, I'm like, we'll go as a friends. That's fun. You know, I've known you for 3 years, you know?
Yeah.
And so
I got you.
yeah, he got me. And so he was all excited. He's like, okay, great, thanks.
So my frame of mind again, probably 48 hours without sleep.
Yeah.
And I was like about to graduate. And I had been, as you could tell, becoming interested in Alyssa. Because she is a very godly woman and she was leading worship. So, you know, going to the required chapels, anytime it was her leading, I was always like, now that's a godly woman. Like, that is... She's like 3 times out of my league, but I was still like, okay, I'm just going to hang out with her because she's good friends with my sister. But, you know, I just asked her to coffee one day. Felt like a little tug, like, hey, I should tell her. But first I asked her to the dance, and she said yes. And then I was like, so let me make this a little more awkward. And she's like, okay.
I was like, oh no.
I'm like, I like you. And she's just like, she already said yes. So I was like, but I'm not asking you out. And I quote,
I said, well, good, because if you were asking me out, I'd say no.
And I was like, ouch, all right.
Because I didn't know what to say. This guy that I did not have any feelings for just admitted that he liked me. And to be honest, you guys, because I was born blind, I always didn't think I'd ever date. And I only dated one guy, and it was kind of a weird thing way back. And I'd never really had a guy come out, only once, but it was a while ago and I forgot about it. I'd never had a guy say he liked me, and let alone a guy that I didn't really like. So it was really a weird experience for me, and I just didn't know what to say. So I was very upfront and kind of, I mean, I wasn't rude, but I was definitely not, you know, I was a little firm because I was trying to tell him, hey, I'm not there. But it was super cute. I mean, looking back, I think it was adorable because he was like, I like you, and I'm not asking you out, you know, like he said. And then he goes, you know, I am a senior and I am graduating, so, you know,
I mean, you had another year.
Yeah, and I had another year and a half or something like that. And he's like, you know, and I know you're probably not wanting to date right now, you're not looking right now, but, you know, we do live 30 minutes apart because our hometowns were 30 minutes apart from each other. So he's like, so that's a good thing because you're close. And, you know, I'd wait a couple years. And I was just like...
You're like, no?
I was just, like, did not know what to say. So then after that was over, I was just like, well... Yeah, I'm not really there right now. I love being your friend, though, and I just want to say that was very bold of you and very courageous of you to say that, so I appreciate that you told me that and you were honest.
Wow, she didn't say I hate you, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, so he was glad that I didn't totally just cut off the friendship at that point, even though I was kind of tempted to be honest. Because I was like, this is creepy! But anyway, so that was that. But I did really like him as a friend, so we went on with our lives, and he would... I mean, seriously, if I were him, I would have given up at this point, because, you know, she's not there. Okay, fine. But he kept, like... asking to come to my room. He would see, like, me and my guide dog, January, my last dog, walking, and she would stop in the middle of the street. One time she stopped and pooped on the way to my class in harness, which was gross.
She ate a bunch of
like trail mix off in my room, I guess. And so he comes by and I'm like late for class and he goes, keep going, I'll pick up the poop. And I was like, no. He goes, yeah, seriously, keep going. So he was like super sweet and he would like come and give January baths and stuff. And every time he did this, I was super mean and I would just be like, oh no, I'm good. Oh, you don't have to do that. And I was just not very nice. And he would like offer to buy me medicine when I had a headache, and I was just like, no thanks, I'm good. So I was always turning him away, and he was always trying to flirt, which is really cute, but he was very respectful about it, but I was always turning him away. And so one night, this has been going on for like a month, and I was trying to avoid him, and it was awful, and so one night I just felt a tug from the Lord. I don't know what it was, but I was just sitting with the Lord praying, and I felt like I was being rude and that I was, you know, even if I didn't have feelings for him, that I needed to at least accept his friendship and not always push him away because he was just trying to be a friend. And even if he was flirting, you know, I needed to focus on just being a good friend, and I wasn't being a very nice friend. And so I got convicted about that. So I texted him that night because I can never hold anything in. And I was like, you know, I just want to apologize. You've been a great friend and I've just been pushing you away and I'm sorry. And he's like, oh, that's okay. What are you up to right now? And I was like, oh, I'm doing homework in my room. He goes, I can meet you and we can go do homework in the common room, which is like the hangout room, you know. And so we did. And I think,
her not totally shutting me down. I'm like, she's okay with me being around still.
He
so
was
I'm
happy.
just going to still be around.
Yes. So he stayed around and we actually hung out. And that was like the week of the dance. So we hung out a lot that week. The dance went pretty well, huh, babe? Better than you expected, huh?
No, you were sort of trying to find friends to hang out with.
That's true. It was still awkward. Like,
cold shoulder, but
yeah.
still.
He said, well, this goes without saying. You look nice. And I'm like, oh, thanks. Like, it was very awkward because I didn't know what to say. And I'd never been on to a dance with a guy before. So it was super just different. But it was fun. And we actually hung out at the beach afterwards and just did friend things.
Because she didn't totally stonewall me. I was like, so yeah, it's still early, like, do you want to do anything? And you're like, I wish I could go to the beach. I'm like, I have a car. And she's like, okay,
happy.
Let me change. So we went and we had to walk on the beach with Jan.
Yep. So we kept hanging out. He kept coming over and bathing my dog and doing homework with me. And we just were really good. We became really good friends after I decided that I needed to be nicer to him. We became very good friends, actually. And we'd hang out a lot. But I still didn't like him. He still liked me. He was super flirty, but he was always respectful again. So anyway, school ended and the year ended and he graduated. And he lived 30 minutes from me. So, of course, the first thing he said to me when the year ended is, hey, can I hang out with you, like, during the summer? And I said, sure. So
still didn't say no.
Yeah. Right. So then a few days later, he asked to come over and meet my mom and everything. Or I guess he'd already met her, but not for a while. Like, not much time had been spent.
I helped you move out or something.
Yeah, he helped us move out. So he came over to my house after school had just ended, and we hung out. And a whole day. And this actually continued, you guys, for like 3 weeks. He would just come over twice a week and just hang out, help me with things.
And her mom was like, why is he staying so late? You guys aren't dating. And my brother was like, why are you going over that far of a drive? You're not even dating. And I'm like, I don't know.
And he just enjoyed being my friend. And I remember him telling me at one point, because he had checked in and said, so, are you there yet? Or whatever. I didn't really say, are you there yet? But he wanted to know if I liked him, and I still said no. And he goes, well, I just want you to know, like, I just, if I could just be your friend, that's fine with me. I'd love that. And so he was super sweet, you guys.
So the friend zone is a good place to start, but just keep knocking and digging at that.
Definitely. So anyway, very long story short, we hung out for a few weeks and maybe a month, and I was still not there. Well, I had been feeling a little bit of a tug from the Lord because Richard had been showing me just who he was and his heart for the Lord, and he was such a great friend, and we really got along. But I felt like he wasn't my type. Because
I had nothing in common with you at all?
And I was always a singer, and my parents and my family had always envisioned me with a musician so we could sing duets together, and Richard was a history major, and he's never, sang a note in his life except for fun. And so he just wasn't my type in my book. I had like these ideals, and so that's why I kept pushing him away. But I knew the personality and the heart behind him was like beautiful, and I loved it, but I just was stubborn, okay? So one day, he was hanging out with me again like he had been. And my brother, I don't know if I've told you guys this, but my little brother is, he's also blind, but he has some other handicaps as well. So he doesn't speak and he walks, but his mind is kind of like he's maybe, how old, babe, would you say? Like maybe four
maybe
in his mind, but he's 22. So he's just a sweetheart. And so my mom needed me to watch him, and Richard was over with me. So we decided to take him to the park. Richard's like, hey, let's take him to have some fun. So we did. And my brother loves the swings. And so Richard, all on his own, you guys, this was amazing. So I went on my own swing, and I'm just swinging. And I hear Richard next to me pushing my brother on the swing for like an hour. And my brother's just laughing and just having so much fun. And to me, it's a huge deal when somebody is really good with my brother. Because, my brother's very different. And so immediately, I'm swinging, and my eyes are just like tearing up. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And in that moment, you guys, it was so clear. It was like the Lord just said, Alyssa, why are you not opening your heart to this man that I've given you, that I've put in your path? And I was just like, what? But Lord, he's not my type. And I was just like, but Lord, I like someone else kind of, except he didn't know, so it was okay. And I was like, but Lord, and the Lord's just like, no, you need to open your heart. I just kept feeling this like, trust me, it's okay, trust me, open your heart. So you guys, I did. But I didn't tell him right away. I decided I was going to give it a week or two and just kind of see how it goes, and I was going to keep praying about it. So I began to see Richard through different eyes for the next week or two. And oh my goodness, I fell for him so quickly. It was almost scary because I began to see him for who he really was. And I began to not be so cold, give him such a cold shoulder anymore when he would flirt. I would just kind of like smile. But he was always, he would just flirt in a very simple way. Like he was never weird about it. But it was just the sweetest thing how the Lord just opened my eyes and I fell for him. And so about 2 weeks later, we're hanging out, maybe a week later, I don't know, sometime later, we're hanging out, and sometimes he would occasionally slip with a flirty comment. And so we're hanging out at the park where we would usually hang out, and we listen to the ducks. And we love duck parks. And he goes, I really want to hold your hand. And he's like, and then he
I was really bold.
immediately regretted it, right, babe?
I was like, yeah.
And instead of, usually I'd be like, oh, stop, or I'd just look away and be all awkward. Instead, I was like, he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, that's okay, because I want to hold your hand too. And he's
what? Like, it's accepted that I'm the one pursuing you and that you're completely not into it.
Yeah.
So every now and then I said that, and she's like, never see you again, but just no. So that time she said that, I'm like, where'd that come from? So it's like, it's normal for me to be like that, but not you.
So yeah, it was super really funny. He was like, what? I gave up on that. And I was like, oh, you did? And like, well, so good. But then what he meant was that he had given it to the Lord and just not thought about it because he knew I wasn't there. And then when
nothing more I could do, guys.
Yeah, he was so, oh my goodness. The Lord was so good, and how the Lord helped him just to be my friend and not think about it. And I think the Lord really blessed him because he was patient and gave it to the Lord and surrendered it. And so anyway, when I said that, he's like, I gave up on that. And I was like, you did? I mean, are you still there? Because I'm there. And he goes, no, I'm still there. I still have feelings for you. I'm like, that hasn't changed. I just, gave it to the Lord. And so it was really exciting for us because then he was like, oh my goodness, now I'm going to talk to your dad. And can I ask you to dinner? And I'm like, yes, of course. And so that's how we started dating. It was so sweet, you guys, just how my dad, of course, a week later, he asked my dad. My dad said yes. He took me to dinner on our first date, and this was in June
Olive Garden.
Yep, Olive Garden in Costa Mesa. And this was
the beach.
Yep, and then the beach, and it was so cute. Like, we held hands for the first time that day, and it was just so sweet. And you guys, I hate to say this because I don't hate to say it, but it's kind of like weird to say, but I fell for him the first date. Like, and I didn't tell him that. We kept it in for a month. But we both knew right away that we loved each other. And
pretty much already married at that first date.
Yeah,
like,
we knew.
Like an old married couple.
It was just like, yeah. It was just like the Lord normal. Just like, yeah, it felt so natural, huh, babe? Like, it felt like we'd known each other our whole lives and that it was meant to be. And it was just, I can't explain the feeling. And those of you who are married or love someone probably know. But it was beautiful. And so we started dating in June 2013. We dated for a year. And then June 20th, 2014... he proposed to me because we just couldn't wait any longer. And that's for another video. I'll share the proposal story because it was beautiful. And then 6 months later, on December 20th, 2014, we were married. So
that's almost 2 years ago now. So
yep, it's amazing, you guys. Like, I love him so much. He's such a wonderful man, and how he waited for me and was so patient. And the Lord just made this happen and opened my heart. And so anyway, I get teary-eyed, but it's just a beautiful thing. And so that's our love story. It's unique, but it's beautiful, and I love him. And did I leave anything out, babe?
No, I mean, we just, for that whole year, probably hung out like 4 times a week, no matter what.
Oh, we tried as much as we could.
I feel like we squeezed all the time out of the 3 months of courting and the year of dating. Like, we were pretty much always together.
Always. And, inseparable. So he's my best friend, and I love you, babe.
Love you too.
So that's our love story. So if you have any questions or want to know anything else, just feel free to comment below. And if you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do that. That'd be awesome. And if you're on Facebook, my Facebook page again is True Insight. And if you want to know more about me, about Richard, about our story, about my life, about how it is to live with blindness, then just look up my page and look me up on YouTube. And comment below so I can get to know you. All right. Love you guys so much. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Bye.